Hey friends, we made it to Saturday, didn't we? Well, I've mentioned before, we need to pay attention to Israel. They are the marker on the ground. Their activities, their enemies, and what their enemies are thinking about doing to them. They play into God's timeline. Israel does. And we have to pay attention and try and match what's going on in the ground that we see where we live, also with what's going on in space, what we see, the signs and the wonders. This is an article from CBS News. Israel bombs away. Let's go ahead and scan through it, because we've been hearing reports that they're going to do some bombing, maybe the UK, the United States. So whenever you, and then now they mention Israel, so whenever you think about things, it's possible. I believe in '81 Israel got them then on one of their facilities. Well, let's go ahead and read a little bit of this and I'll go through it with you. Netanyahu and Barak recently convinced the ultra-hawkish foreign minister Avigdor Lieberman to support a military attack in the near future. So they are talking about it, and that is what I heard and was concerned about, is that Israel was really asking the cabinet for permission. In the last weeks, there's rumors they're readying an attack. And part of the reason the talk is surfacing may be that next week's meeting of the IAEA is set to release a new report which may report that Iran has made further progress in its program, nuclear program. Netanyahu and Barak, they want to do it from what I've been understanding, but there's other elements in their military that are just the opposite. Where this is going to end up at this particular time, well, we really don't know right now. A disagreement within the government, or whether to attack Iran's nuclear facilities, has sparked a political catfight between two members of the Octet Forum of 8 senior ministers. Vice Prime Minister Moshe Yaalon and Defense Minister Ehud Barak. Yaalon and Barak presented diametrically opposed views. Barak supported a military strike and said it should take place as soon as possible, while Yaalon argued that Israel should give it international sanctions time to work, or see if they would, and that if military action did become necessary, it'd be better for America to do it. The new talk about an Israeli attack on Iran started with a column at the end of October by Nahum Barnea in the Daily Yediot Aeronot, in which he wrote, "Have the Prime Minister and Defense Minister settled on a decision just between the two of them to launch a military attack on the nuclear facilities in Iran? This question preoccupies many people in the defense establishment and high circles of government. It distresses foreign governments, which find it difficult to understand what is happening. On the other hand, there's a mounting rumors of an Israeli move that will change the face of the Middle East and possibly seal Israel's fate for generations to come. On the other hand, there's a total absence of any public debate. The issue of whether to attack Iran is at the bottom of the Israeli discourse. And Netanyahu has ordered Israelis' intelligence to investigate the leaks, which some Israelis believe may have come from current or former members of the very same intelligence service." Well, kind of sounds like America with their leaks and stuff, doesn't it? According to the report, former Mossad chief Meir Dagan and former Shin Bet chief Yuval Diskin are those responsible for leaking information to the media regarding an attack on Iran. The Jerusalem Post, a right-wing daily, helpfully fills in some details about what a strike might look like, reporting that it would involve several hundred aircraft and possibly the use of U.S.-supplied bunker buster bombs. And there's Mr. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. He's in the hot seat a little bit over in Iran, unless that's false information. Apparently he's been called on the carpet. And some allegations of improper dealings, maybe a little corrupt. We'll see where that goes. Needless to say, an Israeli attack on Iran would unleash catastrophic consequences, completely apart from whether or not Israel could actually do the job effectively. An Israeli attack would lead to a regional conflagration in which Iran would use its proxies and allies and most likely terrorist units against U.S. and Israeli targets across the region and even worldwide. Hezbollah in southern Lebanon would strike Israel, leading to what would end up being an Israeli war against both Syria and Lebanon. Iran's allies in Iraq and Afghanistan could launch attacks on U.S. and NATO forces there, and there's a strong likelihood that Iran would try to attack the oil facilities of the Arab countries across the Persian Gulf. The ripples would spread from there, including soaring oil prices in the range of $150 to $200 a barrel. Let me stop right there. We haven't talked about him very much, but Lindsey Williams has told us in the past this year that at some point a barrel of oil would get up to $200 a barrel. And he explained that, the high price before, what did it get up to? $147 a barrel. And look at the price that it had sold for at that time. Though he's already said the elites wanted $200 a barrel this time. And that if they went into Saudi Arabia for regime change like they had been doing, and it is not for democracy, that will be shown in the long run. But he said if they went into Saudi Arabia, you most certainly would see well over $5 a gallon. And I believe he quoted $10 a gallon if they ever went into Saudi Arabia and done what they've done in other places. So let's carry on. That was about the $200 a barrel, and that's what you can expect if it gets to be $200 a barrel. $10 a gallon. For all these reasons, without definitive proof that Iran has actually acquired a bomb, and that Iran is planning to use it, an attack by either the U.S. or Israel makes no strategic sense, especially since many analysts believe that even a sustained attack might not succeed in doing anything more than delaying Iran's program, while convincing Tehran to accelerate it and move its facilities underground into hardened sites, as it appears to be doing in its new facility outside Qom. President Obama, while pushing to isolate Iran and impose even tougher sanctions, isn't likely to attack Iran. Well. We'll just see, won't we? He has a propensity of saying one thing and doing the opposite. So we will see, won't we? That's not true for some of his Republican rivals in 2012, which means they are more willing to hit the button and do some bombing. In addition, since 2007, under both Bush and Obama, the Pentagon has delivered strong warnings to Israel not attack Iran under any circumstances, because the consequences would be so severe. No doubt those warnings stand, which is why this writer of this article does not believe Israel would risk any attack on Iran by itself. Well, that's probably right, but then again, you never know, do you? I mean, we risked an attack, didn't we? Yeah, we went it by ourselves pretty much, without the help of the international community in certain recent activities. If you can't get the help, the U.S. just goes ahead and does it. Well, that's unfortunate. We'll see where this leads. But you can count on, like this article said, soaring gas prices. And I have some Lindsey Williams videos of what he said back then, earlier in the year, in my I believe I have them in my favorites. So if anybody wants them, I believe you can find them in there. I'll go through and look and make sure. If they're not, I'll put them in there. But he has had some very good information throughout the years as far as oil prices and whatnot. So let us go now and take a little look. We have a little earthquake activity, and we'll scan around and look at that. But we have something going on in Alaska. They had a 4.4 on the 4th, and they issued a tsunami warning. It's 55 miles southeast of Iliamna, Alaska. U.S. West Coast, Alaska, and British Columbia coastal regions. So let us go down south. And we have had some activity. The higher activity I've already looked at before I came to make the video. And Vanuatu has had some activity, and you can see Hawaii there on the way down. And they're watching their volcanoes. And what we see is they've had a 5.8 on the 4th, and they've actually had two 5.8s at two different times, both on the 4th. And then you have your 4s in the Fiji region, and you can swing it on around and look through Indonesia, and you can see that they've had some 5.1, you know, right at a 5, a little bit over a 5 on the 4th, and then a 5.2, and then you see a 4.8. Now Japan, they have not had a whole lot of stuff. They've had a 5. I don't believe it was a 5 even. Well, I guess they didn't. Oop, I have to refresh. Oh, it was almost a 5. A 4-9 on the 4th. And a 4-8 on the 4th. And a 4-6 on the 4th. So everything else looks like 4s, pretty much from what I've looked at, or a 5 or a low 5. And Vanitaal looks like, right now at the moment, they have the highest magnitude with the two 5.8s. And then we have our tsunami warning in the region of the Pacific Wave 11 drill in the Pacific. So let's go here. That's why I showed that about Alaska, because that's an area that they're going to be doing their little warning, supposedly named after the Pacific area, all those regions listed. Close Shave Asteroid 2005 YU-55 bombarded by radio waves. And this is space.com. And let's go ahead and play this and listen to it. You've probably already seen it, maybe. I don't know. But I thought you might enjoy it.
Hi, I'm Shaul Zislin here at Gulf Shores, Alabama at the Hangout. You come down here, it's got to be a seafood experience. We're simple. There's nothing fancy about what we do, but we try and do it really, really good.
The 2005 YU-55 is going to make a very close approach to the Earth on the night of November 8th, 2011. At that time, its distance from Earth will be just under 9/10 of the Moon's distance away from us. 2005 YU-55 cannot hit Earth, at least over the interval that we can compute the motion reliably, which extends for several hundred years. It's going to be moving very rapidly as it traverses the sky near the Earth on November 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. In effect, it'll be moving straight at us from one direction, and then it'll go whizzing by and straight away from us in the other direction. So its motion across the sky will be close to 180 degrees over the course of less than 2 days. It made a close approach to Earth about 18 months ago. In April of 2010, colleagues of ours at Arecibo Observatory were able to observe this asteroid using the radar facility at Arecibo. And they were able to obtain radar images that showed that this object is about 400 meters across. On November 8th, 9th, 10th, we'll be observing it again. This time with both the Arecibo telescope and with the Goldstone telescope here in California. This is the closest approach by an asteroid that large that we've ever known about in advance. The radar telescopes that we use to observe asteroids are very large radio dishes. The Goldstone telescope is 70 meters, which is 240 feet across, so it's truly enormous, and Arecibo is even larger still. The Goldstone telescope has a new radar imaging capability which has just become available that will enable us to see much finer detail than has previously been possible. And depending on how we transmit the signal, we can get different types of data. It shows us how big it is, it can show us features on the asteroid, it can tell us information about the asteroid's rotation period. We should be able to tell much better with these new observations that we're going to do.
Well, they can tell much better, can't they? Because we're not but just a few days away from it. And now I want to show you this. And I've adjusted my screen a little bit. Someone left a comment on my last video about this model. And I didn't like what they alleged or led into. It made it seem as if I was blocking out the date on the model and trying to pass off that this is today's date. And I say to this person, who is probably a shill, you're not very smart. I put the link up so people could click it and come here and look at it. So when they did, they would see the date. You have some common sense this is used as a reference when I speak about the radiation coming over here and escaping from the reactors in Japan. And if you listen to my voice real close, Mr. Schill, whoever you are, I never said this current model. I never said that. So I'm speaking to all of my subscribers and friends and anybody else. I do not put false information or lie to anyone about what I'm presenting. And I'm telling you now, anytime I put this up here, it's not now. There's right there. Okay? This is something so you can see what it was doing after that happened in March. And when we speak about it, I want everyone to see it. Because if you don't see it, you get hooked into out of sight, out of mind. Short attention spans, and it just goes away after a while. And then they're like, oh yeah. So I will usually, 99% out of 100, I'll probably usually come here and put this model up when I discuss radiation still coming out. I talked about the article that came out that said the levels were twice as high. And I've said it before, but maybe nobody listened. I don't really even need to, if I chose not to, I really don't even need to look at these models or read an article, because I've already explained. One of my best friends lives in Japan. We talk virtually every day on Facebook. I can get information from him. He lives right there. He has one relative, his sister, over here. Everybody else is gone. Her family has many relatives, and she's Japanese. He's lived over there going on 30 years, and they've got a family and everything. So they've made the conscious decision, irregardless of what happens, live or die, they're going to stay there. They chose to stay, no matter what. So I get all kinds of information from him about the food, the water, the reactors, the people, how do they feel, illnesses, everything. I get it all from him. So please understand that when I talk about the radiation, I not only have people that live in Japan, but I've got a nephew I love dearly that has been diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma. Consequently, ever since all this radiation has been being released and blown into the West Coast. So you can choose to believe it's dissipating on its way here and falling into the ocean, which that's a great consolation. Or maybe getting trapped up into the atmosphere so it can last a whole bunch of years, and that's another great consolation. You can choose to disregard it, because radiation is invisible, it is silent, and as far as I know, it's tasteless and doesn't smell. It's not going to tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, I'm coming inside your body right now, what do you think of that? No, it's not going to do that. So I don't know how to make it any more plainer. We're getting dosed, and that's the way it is. Now, anybody know this guy? This guy is the one that made that comment seem like I intentionally tried to mislead someone or give false information. Mr. Unseen Recordings channel. And he has just these few uploads, of which he put this newest one up right here after I wrote him the mail and told him I didn't like his comment and trying to make people think that I was misleading them, and that I thought he was a shill and that he didn't have nothing up there he had uploaded and done any work on that could possibly help anyone. So, consequently, he now has a Fukushima update 5.11.11, which it's one of the strangest, corniest updates you could probably ever even look at, but apparently that's his thing. So he is supposedly 32. He has a website. Oh boy, that must be a joy. He's in the United Kingdom. He has 3 friends, 7 subscribers. His style is experimental. About me, improvised acoustic electronic music with no overdubs. Well, I still think you're a shill. You're either a shill or you're not very smart. People don't leave links up where viewers can click them and go and see for themselves if they're trying to lie to them. I am not a liar, so I've just now made you famous. I told you I'd put you in the movies, and I always keep my word whenever I tell someone I'm going to do something. And that's the way I'm going to treat all these shills from now on. I'm going to put them out there and I'm going to show you who they are. And if you know them and they're not, write to me and tell me. Because if they're not a shill, well, they're certainly not a truther. And I'm not going to say this person's name, but since I mentioned the word truther, there is a man who has a channel, and he's a truther. But yet, when I watch one of his videos, which I don't watch him regularly, apparently, when we had Elenin and the impending things that it might present upon us, this person had made a video and apparently put some things in it that were not true and accurate. So he had made a follow-up video later on, and in it I heard him say he intentionally did that. It was like a little test to see how many people would fall for it. Now, what I gotta say about that is I can't believe a truther would actually perform a little test on people who were looking to him for the truth. So if you fooled people and played your little trick on them and put that stuff out on purpose in order to see who was awake, asleep, or whatever you termed it as, I forgot, then that's not truth. No real truther would ever mislead anybody for any intention at all. And I won't never do that. You can always count on me to give you exactly what I think, exactly what I find. Oh, on that note, I think I've covered about everything. Y'all have a good weekend. Keep updated. If you can't, come check out everything on YouTube. If I've uploaded something, it'll be something for you about YU55 or something, if anything new comes up about it. So far, nothing that I know of. It still should be going the way it has been, and we shouldn't get hit. Shouldn't get hit on the moon. And we'll just see if that holds up. I believe it will, because like I said, we realized we were early with Comet Elenin. It didn't fit God's timeline, and from what I'm thinking and concentrating on about God's timeline, I don't think 2005 YU55 fits into it in something that's going to cause something real bad to happen. It could fit into the signs and wonders category, but I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to really hit anything. So, God bless everyone, keep you safe, and fill you with strength. You can always look to Him for inspiration, protection. He loves you, and that's what this extra time is all about. He's giving everybody the longest that He can give them to get the life straight, to get the sin off of them, to get a relationship with Him and get to know Him. Because sometime the door closes and it won't be open for a while. You don't want to be down here after the rapture, because it's going to be really rough, and you got to ride it out and come through it and change yourself and find Him to be able to be with Him during that period. And if you don't, well, you're doomed, and you can't really discuss it anymore after that, because that's just the way it is. Not to end with doom and gloom, but that's just the way it is. I'm sorry. So tomorrow's big football day. There are going to be some good games on. Oh, I believe Oklahoma probably, more than likely, they'll probably stomp Texas A&M. And Oklahoma State, well, they'll probably stomp Kansas State. And LSU and Alabama, I kind of like both of them. I'm sorry that one of them has to lose. I think LSU might be a little bit stronger, but I wouldn't be surprised if Alabama won. But I think I'm going to pull for LSU. So, we'll talk to y'all later. God bless you. Good night. And keep watching. Something's there. You're going to see something sooner or later.